Now, here's a fact that I didn't even know. That even though this game was sold out, there was no television of the game. That's hard to believe. So for you then and for you now, it's Gibbs Shanley with the call of the game and the memories of the greatest day in Cleveland sports history.
There's a strong wind, which could be a factor here this afternoon. It's about 17 miles an hour. It seems to be coming directly out of the east or over the bleachers, which means it is running lengthwise to the field or parallel to the sidelines. The Cleveland Browns have won the flip of the coin and have elected to receive. They will be moving left to right or towards the bleachers. Let's go down on the field with our shotgun mic and get into the mood of this NFL title game number 32 this afternoon.
Left end. Ryan gives to Jim Brown, outside left end. He's to the 25, he's to the 30, to almost the 31. Unitas to throw it. Slips, now runs with it up the middle. He's to the 29, to the 31, to the 33-yard line. He was hit at the 30, but spun away with Bob Boyd holding. Angle from the left. Waiting for the snap. There it is. He fumbled the ball. He's going to run with it. He's caught and dropped back at the 28-yard line. Right there at the 28. He's down. Johnny Unitas takes the draw. He's going to throw it. He's rushed. Flare screen to the left. And a beautiful tackle to the 21-yard line by David Benson anymore. Back to throw Unitas. Fires, look in, it is. Bounced out of the hands and intercepted by Costello at the Browns 29-yard line. And there's the gun. That's the end of the first half with the score. The Browns nothing, the Colts nothing.
Let's go down on the field now. Pick up this man.
Collins a split 8 at right end. Here's Ryan to throw. Flare to the left. Jim Brown to the 45 to 50. He's got blockers to the 40. He's down to the 37-yard line. 42 yards. Slight angle from the left. Now that may make it 43 now as Franklin eases back. Here's the snap. The kick is in the air. It's far enough. It is good! Green again, wing back to the left. Flip to Jim Brown, turning left end. He's to the 40, 45, 50, 45, 40. Jim Brown to the 30. He's to the 20. Jim Brown is down on the 17-yard line. Again, Collins flanked to the right. Here is Ryan to throw. He's chased out of the pocket. He fires to Collins. Touchdown for the Browns. There's the kick. It's a high one. It's in the end zone. Lorik's going to come out from the 2 yards deep. He's to the 10. He's hit the 11 and down to the 11 by Kelly. Ryan Collins is out 6 at right end. Ryan back to throw. Pumps, throws a long one to Collins. He's wide open. He's got it at the 8. A touchdown for the Browns. Unitas to throw the ball. Looking, firing a flare to the left. Jimmy Hill's got it at the 40. Knocked out at the 44. And a hard tackle by Galen Fiss. Wing back to the right is Ernie Green. Flip to Jim Brown, turning right in. He's to the 35. He's down to the 30. He's to the 25. He's still on his feet to the 20. He's down inside to the 14-yard line. Collins splits 8 at right end. Ryan to throw. Blitz on. There's the long bomb to Collins. And he got the ball. He's in there for a touchdown.
When we return, you'll meet the 1964 champions. But first, listen to their old theme music. Cleveland Browns All-American People.
How did Lincoln Mercury become such a powerful force in SUVs? Diversification. The big...
For Christmas. She's let us beat the Baltimore Colts to the World Championship, Sam. That's all the Browns and myself have.
Well, if you keep on the way you're going, Dick, you won't have any trouble at all with that.
Thank you very much.
Okay. That takes care of you then, too, Terry. Is that what you want? Okay. Merry Christmas to the two of you.
Thank you, Santa.
It was a defense that bended and never broke. Please welcome the starting unit and the rest of the defense for your 1964 champion Browns.
At left end, a man who has been evaluating other left ends for the NFL teams for about 30 years. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome for Paul Wiggin.
He took out his frustration on the team that traded him the week before, and he still believes in Santa Claus, Dick Modzelewski.
Now, he was only a rookie, but played like a vet. He forced Johnny U out of the pocket. Say hello to Jim Kanicki.
He is a man of God, but he was hell on quarterbacks. He was preaching then, he's still preaching today, Reverend Bill Glass.
Now we have The quiet man of an unsung linebacking corps. He was the poet. Say hello to Jim Houston.
Unfortunately, the middle linebacker cannot be with us tonight due to the death of his sister, but we all remember middle linebacker Vince Costello.
And on the right side, the man who, with the terry cloth robe and slippers, he wore it all the time in the locker room. You saw him before. Galen Fiss is here.
The thinking man's defensive back, Bernie Parrish.
Jim Brown's favorite interview subject in the locker room, the DB, Walter Beach.
Now, because of illness, backup quarterback Jim Nanowski was questionable for this game. This man was designated as the backup quarterback. He didn't need to play that position, but he did intercept a pass at his position, safety Ross Feitner.
This next gentleman was on injured reserve on that day, but he played a vital role on and off the field. Tom Goose Gooseby.
Small and tough, but part of a secondary that shut out the NFL's highest scoring team, Bobby Franklin.
An Ohio-born Brown who knew what the tradition was all about, and he had dreamt of this moment as a young kid. Ladies and gentlemen, safety Larry Benz. Larry Benz.
We return the special teams and other members of the 1964 champions.
And I can go to a four-year school at the same time.
The tuition was so affordable.
The affordability at Cleveland State is a huge factor.
Within minutes, you can go anywhere, you can do anything that you want.
I don't need a car.
It's just such a warm, relaxing environment. It's really just given me such a solid foundation.
If you want to carry a full-time job and live close to home but still go to a four-year school, it's available here at Cleveland State. It's the perfect fit.
We're more convenient than ever with downtown Westlake and Solon campuses.
Blanton, I guess you could say that a film projector is one of a coach's best friends, couldn't you?
Yes, sort of the lifeblood of the profession, Ken. I'd almost rather lose an arm and lose a projector.
Does it have any effect on you, whether, as far as cold weather, if we have it on Sunday?
Well, not particularly, Ken. The only thing is you have trouble getting traction. The chances are the field is frozen, we'll go with a flat-soled shoe. You can't wear cleats, and this way you may not get your full power, which is important on those long kicks.
Please welcome the son of Ken and the wife of Lou, Casey Coleman and Jackie Grossa.
What Jackie said a moment ago is that's what they used to do in the stands. Lou. It's, we all miss Lou. We all miss Lou. Casey, let me start it off. First of all, you have brought a special memento with you tonight, a memento that maybe be hard to part with, right?
Yeah, well, that's why they're at the Hall of Fame, Roy. These are the shoes that Mr. Brown ran for a mile with in 1963, and you know, a lot of guys have a whole pile of shoes. Jim used to come in, said, here, throw these away, give me a size 12.5. And so I plucked them out of the trash, and they were in my basement. And I thought, well, they're not doing me any good. So they're under his uniform down in Canton. And I said, I'm going to pick the shoes up. No, you're not. We're going to have a curator there all day, and you'll hand them to him directly. So, yeah, these are Mr. Brown's shoes.
Incidentally, if you look carefully under the cleats, there's some of Sam Huff's flesh. I don't know if you knew that. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
At Roy's suggestion, we're going to run DNA tests as soon as we get him back to the hall.
This is obviously a great moment, emotional moment for you. I know that you would so much want Lou to be here. And I know you said this before when we were talking before. He is here tonight, isn't he?
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the emotions and what your husband meant to Cleveland, what Cleveland meant to your husband.
Well, he just loved the Browns. He played 21 years with them, and he loved this team. And we miss him.
Yeah, we all miss him. But you know, you were talking to me before about this. You said that when he knew it was time, he played a long time. When he knew it was time to quit, it was a cute story that you tell me that he was on the field. He always liked to make the tackle after he kicked off, right?
That's right.
Tell the folks the story.
Well, I've forgotten the team that they were playing, but this young man happened to hit him from the blind side, and when he looked down and he said, "Oh, excuse me, Mr. Groza," and Lou said that was a good hit or whatever, and he got up and he said he knew then it was time to retire when this young man said, "Mr. Groza."
Mr. Groza. I want to throw it over to you, Casey. As special as Lou was and will always be, there are a lot of other special members of special teams. Casey?
Thank you, Roy. Yes, as you'll hear from some of the stars of this team, this band of brothers, no one was more special than the other. The first guy was the same as the 40th guy on this team, and I'm going to have the pleasure tonight of introducing you to a bunch of my guys, guys I spent summers with. We played a little football and managed to work in some wiffle ball and frisbee, too. I know that Dad would like me to acknowledge several other people that aren't with us anymore. You heard Gibbs' play-by-play earlier, his partner in the booth for 18 seasons, the unflappable Jim Grainer. Dad's partner in the booth and a standout defensive back for the Browns for 11 seasons, Warren Lahr. And also watching from above tonight, and no doubt cracking one-liners, the original equipment man of the Cleveland Browns, and a man who was my boss for 3 summers and kept the team loose with his special brand of humor, Maury Kono. And I don't need a script for the rest of them because, like I said, these are my guys. There are some other gentlemen that can't be with us tonight. John Brown, who used to entertain us with his guitar. Roger Scholes, who had a great career with the Detroit Lions and a member of the '64 team. Frank Parker. Eddie Ulinski, who was a coach with the Browns from 1954 through 1970. And Nino, Jim Nanowski, who backed up Dr. Frank, but was really a team leader. And now, without further ado, he came over from the Dallas Cowboys, and he backed up along the offensive line, Dale Memelar. He came over from the Minnesota Vikings and backed up when Bob Gain went down with a broken leg, Mike Bundra. He was father confessor, and he was a father to many of the players on the team. He was the original trainer for the Browns. His famous quote was, "Put an aspirin on it and get out there." Leo Murphy. And now representing the offensive line coach, and nobody was feistier than Fritzy, Evelyn Heisler. The man who coached the defensive line that did a great job in shutting out the Colts on that great day in December, Mr. Nick Skorich. On defense, he was out with a broken leg that year, but he played an important role on December 27th because he threw the team party after we beat the Colts, Bob Gain. And now a man who had a great career with the Detroit Lions and was an outstanding special teams player for the Cleveland Browns, Mike Lucci. Two guys from Dayton, Ohio, both played at the same high school together. Both were taken in the '63 draft, and they came together on the '64 championship. Lowell Kaler. And number 26, Dave Ramey. He's from Sandusky, Bowling Green, and made the team as a free agent, linebacker Ed Bettridge. Standout special teams player. You know, in those days they call them the suicide squads, and when this guy ran down under kicks, the opposition considered it. Sidney Williams. A guy that Blanton Collier once called the smartest player on the team from Benedictine High School, Stan Zurich. And now a fellow wiffle ball player who played 11 years in the NFL and backed up Warfield and Collins, Clifton, the Stick, McNeil. George Ratterman said, if Otto Graham's the best and I back him up, I must be the second best. Well, if Jim Brown was the best, Charlie Scales must have been the second best. Number one pick from Kentucky in '63, got his ring in '64, tight end Tom Hutchison. He was the smallest man in the National Football League when he played, but nobody measured this man's heart. One half of the jet set, Walter the Flea Roberts. This guy returned punts, won a couple rushing titles, went to 6 Pro Bowls, and when he's not in town, if you'd like to see him, there's a bust of him in Canton, Hall of Famer Leroy Kelly. Ladies and gentlemen, you just saw one of the biggest reasons that this team were world champions. The special teams accounted for 8 touchdowns by this unit, and the jet set, the Flea, and Leroy always gave the offense outstanding field position. And we're going to meet those offensive starters as Brownstown 1964 championship rolls on right after this.
Introducing the Browns Extra Points credit card from MBNA. You can get closer to the Browns and the game you love and turn your dreams into reality. To apply, call 1-800-386-5551 or log on to brownsextrapoints.com for the Browns exclusive credit card. Browns Extra Points. Start living your dreams.
Thanks for helping us out, Brian.
No problem, Hayes. Anything for a Bud Light? So, you want your picture right about here, is that right?
Yeah, that's great.
All right.
Are you sure you know what you're doing?
Ladies, please.
Fresh, smooth, real Bud Light.
Oh, that's good as new.
It's all here.
I'm a Ford truck man. That's all I drive.
It's the National Super Duty Kickoff Weekend, where you can check out the next Ford F-Series Super Duty. It's bigger, bolder, tougher than ever, with the most power, most payload, and most towing capability of any pickup truck.
This bad boy's one tough truck, I know, because I own one.
The Super Duty Kickoff Weekend, September 9th through 13th, only at your local Ford store.
Are you bad enough to drive a Super Duty?
Ain't no doubt my king of the mountains built Ford tough.
Welcome back to the Brownstown 1964 Championship Show.
They had the greatest runner in history, the NFL's smartest signal caller, and a stout and agile offensive line. Let's welcome the offense.
Charge around the left side, and he kept an eye on his roommate, Jim Brown. Ladies and gentlemen, the man who blocked for Jim Brown, John Wooten.
A six-time All-Pro. He could pass protect, he could pull, he never missed an assignment, and he played this game with a viral infection and 105-degree fever. Guard Gene Hickerson.
Let's not forget the center. Let's not forget the center. Not in a single exchange was missed all year. Not a fumble, not one. The center was John Morrow.
Another six-time All-Pro, apparently in Cleveland, also known for his canoeing, tackle Dick Schafrath.
Well, he must have watched Blanton Collier closely, because he went on to be a head coach, a great football player, and a great coach too. Monty Clark! Monty Clark! He was a great blocker, never missed a game. Running back, Ernie Green too. There's the man.
A determined blocker, a dependable receiver, tight end John Brewer. I think John's already here. Right back there.
We got another shot of him. He's worth
Another
it.
shot.
There's John. Ladies and gentlemen, he was and is a rarity in many ways. He liked Woody Hayes to begin with, and he blocked as a receiver. He has just returned to the Browns, the electrifying wide receiver and Hall of Famer Paul Warfield.
'23 XL right, post to the post. When you saw him run those patterns on that December day, you were watching one of the most remarkable performances in championship history. Wide receiver, Gary Collins.
And the man who led the NFL in touchdown passes that year, and whose wife Joan wrote about him weekly in the Plain Dealer, the quarterback, number 13, Frank Ryan.
I've introduced this man so many times that I've run out of superlatives. The North Star by which all runners set their compass, Jim Brown. And finally, the man behind the men, the mind behind the muscle. Let's listen to head coach Blanton Collier.
In January, why don't you take a day off?
Well, I don't know. We're trying to sign football players at that time and review
That's
the
right.
movies for the season, so there's really no time to take a day off.
Well, we'll work one in next summer, maybe. Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you.
And it's my pleasure to introduce Blanton Collier's daughter, Dr. Kay Collier McLaughlin.
And his granddaughter, by the way, a violinist with the Cleveland Pops, Diane Sloan, is right here tonight. Stand up, Diane. We will have a chance, in coming back in a few moments, have a chance to talk to a lot of the members of this team, the most unforgettable players in Cleveland Browns history. Once again, a big round of applause for the entire 1964 Cleveland Browns.
We have come through a lot together. During the next 4 years, we'll spread ownership and opportunity. We need to make our economy more job-friendly. To keep American jobs here in America, we must allow small employers to join together to purchase insurance. We must end the junk lawsuits and enact tort reform. We got to make sure our workers have the skills necessary to fill the jobs of the 21st century. I'm George W. Bush, and I approve this message.
When my brother would have friends over, I'd stay up in my room because I was afraid they'd call me fat or something. Now I'm not afraid of that at all. I started running and eating better stuff. I'm Cody. I'm 12 years old.
We want your children to live long and healthy lives.
Largest trunk in its class. Another reason Mercury Grand Marquis is the best value in its class. Now get 0% APR for 60 months or up to $5,000 cash back on Grand Marquis. See your local Lincoln Mercury dealer today.
Life is good when you're on course.
Petros Homes, a respected leader in the new home building industry, offers 2 unique golf and home communities. Montage at Redtail and Avon combines a private championship course and club with expertly designed homes overlooking rolling greens and water, while Wilshire in Broadview Heights offers dramatic vista and fairway views surrounding an 18-hole course and club at Briarwood. Visit today and experience on-course lifestyle living with Petros Homes.
Tonight's 1964 championship celebration is being presented by MBNA.
Welcome back, and welcome to, once again, the 1964 defensive unit for the Cleveland Browns. And I think that we should start. Oh, yeah, you should do it. We start at this end with an end, and one of the greats of all time, Paul Wiggin. Good to see you, Paul. How's it feel? Isn't it emotional? Isn't it terrific to be with the guys again?
It really is. You know, thinking back about, and I've kind of said this to a lot of people, but I kind of divide my life into chapters, and there's a chapter that was the Cleveland Browns. And the time I was here, I think back on it, there was never a losing season, but there was a crescendo in the middle of that, and that was in 1964, where a cohesive bunch of people came together and brought about a very, very special time in my life. It's probably the most meaningful time in my life, and if I live to be 100, and I won't, but if I do, I'll never forget it.
Let's talk to Ross Fiechner. Ross, they actually had you as a backup quarterback. And by the way, Frank Ryan will attest, he was not exactly 100%. You had never played quarterback in years, and you were going to possibly play the championship game. What did you think about it?
Thinking about John Mackey. The night before the game, at our pregame meal, or the night before, Dub Jones asked me to come up and talk with him and Blanton. And they said, Nanoski's in the hospital, he's very sick, probably won't be there tomorrow. Frank's ankle could go bad. You want us to go over the game plan with you? I hadn't taken a snap in 5 years.
It's only the championship game, that's all.
I said, I can flip the ball right and left to Jim. I can hand it off to him. We can roll right or roll left. But if I get in there, forget it.
I want to talk about a guy who laid some pretty good licks. Guys you saw in the footage earlier. Galen Fisk, ladies and gentlemen, right here. Galen, what did you think when people said you were 17-point underdogs against the vaunted Baltimore Colts?
I didn't believe it. I don't think any of us did. It was we knew they were a good ball club, and we knew we had our task ahead of us, and we were able to fulfill it and go out there and do the job and send them home crying.
Bernie, step on up over here. Excuse me, you all know the great Bernie Parrish, ladies and gentlemen. You all know. You were a fiery player. You were a great player and a leader, team leader. I remember that people always said that, sometimes, what kind of a name is a guy, Bernie? Bernie's going to stop? You stopped him pretty good, too.
It's actually Bernard.
Oh, there you go. When you played here, how much of an effect did the fans, the loyal 80,000 municipal, have on this football team?
Oh, it was fantastic effect. You'd feel guilty if you lost a game with all these wonderful fans we had. They were there every week, right? Whether we won or lost. We lost a few. And we do appreciate you. And it was a wonderful, wonderful experience because of you folks. I feel so fortunate to have been part of this group of men. It's just the luckiest thing in my life, and I never expected to get back together and see them all again. And this is the most fantastic day that I've had in years and years.
That's great. Jim, scoot over here for a second. Say hello to Jim Kanicki, great lineman, Jim Kanicki. You were just a rookie. You were just a rookie that year, if I'm not mistaken. So second year? Second year. But you were a young player. You see a young player, who's this young kid, Paul Warfield? Or who's this young kid, Leroy Kelly? Where are they? I don't think you said that, by the way. Tell me about the young infusion of the Browns of the future at that point.
Well, I think we had a great mix of young people and some veterans, and some great players that really stepped up to the table that day. I had to play against Jim Parker, who is now in the Hall of Fame with Baltimore, and all the veterans told me, if you can just hold your own, we'll have a great chance of winning this game. Well, as it turned out, we did more than hold our own, and we ended up winning 27-0.
One of the most one-sided victories of all time. Jim Kinnicky. We're going to come back in just a few moments. We'll meet the rest of this great defensive unit as the championship season of 1964 continues right after this.
So this is Europe. What do you want to do? Okay, good trip.
Introducing the Browns Extra Points credit card from MBNA. You can get closer to the Browns and the game you love, and turn your dreams into reality. To apply, call 1-800-386-5551 or log on to brownsextrapoints.com for the Browns exclusive credit card. Browns Extra Points. Start living your dreams.
We are back with the 1964 world champion Cleveland Brown defensive unit. We're here. It's a great, great moment in Severance Hall. We're sitting here and having a chance to talk to players of great magnitude, and one of them is just a little bit over my left shoulder. He was number 49, Walter Beach, ladies and gentlemen. Walter Beach. You work with Jim Brown now with the American Foundation. Do wonderful work with young people who need a break and need help and need some guidance. But back then, with the Cleveland Browns, you knew that this was a team of spirited men and special men. And Jim Brown talked about it earlier. Talk to the folks about the spirit of your young team.
Well, in 1964, when I first came with the Browns, and I knew there were very special people. I came in as a free agent. I'd played in the American Football League prior to playing in the National Football League. And once I arrived, I was accepted by everyone on the team, and there was a spirit. Everyone supported everyone. And there are always underlying situations and conditions that people have to address, but we made the necessary adjustments. We came together as a team, as a unit. Bernie, for the defense in terms of what we had to do that day, was the one that constructed the strategy and helped us all come. And we understood that if the defensive linemen did what we knew they could do, we knew that we could cover the receivers. And fortunately, we were very successful in doing that.
You had some pretty good ones, too, in covering Jimmy Orr and Ray Perkins and John Mackey. Thank you. I want to talk to the Reverend Bill Glass. Everyone talks about your fire on the field and of course, your great passion, your godliness off the field as a preacher, and people talk about that. Did you ever have a problem ever reconciling the two on and off the field?
Actually, I went back to seminary for 6 off seasons when I was playing pro ball, and I learned a great deal at seminary, but I learned more playing with the Browns because it was very practical. I even learned from the Hellraisers on the team because I ultimately came into prison ministry, and that's a place where you need to know what's really going on in the practical world. And they taught me a lot of that while I was playing here. And the truth is that the very practical is the thing that has impact on people, and these guys were the very best at that. Tremendous honesty, very highly intelligent like Frank Ryan and Paul Wiggin, but down-to-earth guys like Bernie Parrish and others. But the truth is that I think I have been most impressed by what they've done since they've played. Yeah. Every one of them have made something very worthwhile of their lives, and even those And even those hellraisers have become, by the grace of God, really great men. I'm proud of them.
Bill, I'm going to have you shift over to here so I can move over to interview and introduce another great figure on the defense. Excuse me, bending down. Say hello to Dick Modzelewski, ladies and gentlemen. Do you feel now, knowing these guys playing the way they did, in their prime, could compete with these young players today? More powerful, more quicker. We have some guys out there, and look at the size of these guys out here. But with the passion, you guys, the pride, you think you could hold your own?
Well, I'll tell you what, I coached for 22 years at the National Football League, and all these guys here had big hearts. I think now they got small hearts. And I think as far as coaching, I would take this group of guys for desire and dedication over any guys that I coached before in 22 years. And when I got traded from the New York Giants to Cleveland Browns, the first thing I said, it was great to play with Jim Brown than against him. Every operation that I've had since, I name them all for Jim Brown. This is the one I missed him. This is the other one I missed him. This is the one he ran over me. And one more story. It's a true story. My wife and I went to a reunion with the Baltimore Colts because I played in the '58 sudden death game with the Giants. And Artie Donovan and all were bragging how they beat us, you know, in the '58 game. And I had this ring on. And I got up to speak, and I had said, "Do you guys remember this ring? 27-0 Cleveland." And Artie Donovan told me to sit the hell down.
Thank you, Dick. We have Ohio-born Larry Benz. Say hi to Larry Benz up top here. Larry, what was it like for an Ohio guy? Your whole life is Ohio. Everything is about Ohio, and then the greatest pinnacle of a professional sports figure is to win a championship. You do it in Ohio. Tell the folks what Ohio means to you.
Oh, it's very special. Growing up in Cleveland Heights, played in Cleveland Heights High, it was special to come back home and play with a group of individuals that no one could be prouder of. We don't have Hall of Famers here. We're just common, everyday guys that had a job to do and cared about doing that job, and didn't worry about the guy next to him because he knew he would do his job. And one reason that we defeated Baltimore and shut him out with our high-scoring offense goes credit to Bernie Parrish, who tweaked our offense just a little, but allowed us to clamp him 2 steps earlier and made Johnny Unitas disrupt his offense. And Bernie's never gotten enough credit for that. And I'd like to thank Bernie for doing that. Thank you.
And I got to commandeer the microphone for a minute. Walter Beach has never gotten the credit, I don't think, for his coverage on Ray Berry. The 58 game, it was Ray Berry who made the key catches and allowed the Colts to win that game. And this guy held him to 2 catches, and then he caught 1.
Let's go to Bobby Franklin. Bobby, we get you scoot over here. Say hi to Bobby Franklin once again. Bobby, this is a team of brothers. It's a band of brothers, truly. Can you talk in one word about the brotherhood of being a professional football player?
Well, I'll tell you what, when I came to Cleveland, I've never been in an organization like the Cleveland Browns. You know, most of us lived at the Commodore Hotel. About half of us lived at the Commodore Hotel. And, you know, at nighttime, and sometime Bill Glass will have devotions. We were talking about also what we were going to do that Sunday. And I remember the championship game quite vividly. You know, we had a good defensive football team. They talked about the rubber band defense, but inside the 20s, we held them. And all we read in the newspapers before the championship game was how much, you know, Baltimore was going to beat Cleveland. But I knew, as I said this afternoon, I knew when we went in the dressing room, came in off the field from warming up, he walked in the dressing room, and Coach Collier talked to the football team, gave his little speech. Then Galen Fisk gets up, our captain, and makes his talk to the team, and this is the first time I've ever seen this happen. Galen says, is anybody else in here want to say anything? And man, I tell you what, everybody choked up, and I'm about to choke up right now.
And he is.
And I'm serious. So when he said that, everybody was real quiet for a second. All of a sudden, Jim Brown steps up. Jim Brown is a word, you know, his action speaks for himself, but he was quiet, he never outspoken. But when he got up and said a few words, and who gives a kick? I don't remember what he said. I don't think he remembers what he said, but when he got up and made his little talk, we went out of that dressing room like we were wild men. I knew we was gonna win that game.
Jim Houston. Excuse me, what a shit-o. We're almost wrapped up here with the defense. Jim Houston, that was emotional just now, and I think I knew everybody's getting a little eyes are getting filled up here. You felt like you guys could go right about now, couldn't you?
We can play right now. Anybody want to play against us? The atmosphere, the spirit that we have right now, of course, is like we had during the game practically, because every one of us wanted to play at least 110% of our ability. And that's the way we were, and that's what we showed on the field.
Well, I know one thing. I know the young Browns are on their way, too, and they feel the strength, too. And they do have big hearts, and they're going to be a great football team, too. I want to thank the old Browns, the 64 defensive unit of the Cleveland Browns. We'll come back right after this from Severance Hall from that championship season, the Cleveland Browns World Championship team.
Are you looking at my chicken? Don't mess with me. You're gonna be sorry. Don't get all snuggly in here trying to get up in my chicken selects. Did I say I was sharing? I saw that. You better put that back. Give me my chicken selects. Tell your story walking, mister. Step away from the chicken. They're not yours, they're not yours. This chicken is mine.
New chicken selects. Big golden arches. Go in there.
I'm loving it. Stand back, people! Stand back!
Leo, hop in here.
You slide down here, okay?
Start with you, stand walking over. You lined up right there. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Jimmy, can we call these guys the Dirty Dozen? Is that all right? We're going to start with Stan Zurich. And Stan, first of all, what was it like to be a Clevelander, go to Benedictine High School, and wear a world championship ring?
In case you can't fathom the excitement, being on a championship team at Benedictine, and then I tell you, to be associated with Cleveland itself, the fan, the rapport they had with the team, all my years through college, and I couldn't think of a better team to get drafted by. And I was very fortunate, and God was with me.
Thank you. Hand that microphone over to Mike Bunder. Mike, now you came in from the Minnesota Vikings that year. Pretty good year to come to town.
Right, and I was proud to come back to Cleveland. And we did play real good. We had special teams. We could play either way, offense or defense, but we did a special team job, and that's what we won.
And then the guy right behind you came from the Dallas Cowboys, Dale Memlar. Dale, Dallas wasn't real good in those days, but boy, you sure landed on a pretty good team, didn't you?
Oh, it was a blessing coming from last place to first place. But winning, this is a winning team, and this is a team that dedicated themselves to beat the Baltimore Colts that day. They used to call it 0 defects, and if everyone studied enough and got their playbook right and worked hard, and there's no defects, no mistakes, we would win. And that's what happened.
This was a perfect team that day.
Thank you, Dale. Now, let's hand it to Tom Gooseby. Goose, Blanton Collier brings in a blocking sled, and you're on the sidelines that season.
Yeah, that happened, 12,000 pounds, and I was promoted to first-string middle linebacker, and I had to show off. And the machine was a little tougher than I was. But nevertheless, I would like to give my true feelings about the athletes up here. They're all champions. One of the things, being a country boy, I like to say about people who are good, they're just damn good people.
Thank you, Tom. Turn around and hand that off to Lowell Kaler. And Dave Ramey, I want you to listen up because I'm going to ask you a similar question here. Lowell, you played in Dayton. There were no Bengals. There were no Colts. I'm going to guess you were a Browns fan. You were drafted by the Bears. You come to Cleveland in '64. Give us your thoughts on that.
It was unbelievable. As a kid, every Sunday we watched the Browns. And to get traded to the Browns and then come here, I got to thinking today as I was practicing earlier today and then sitting here tonight, and I realized that 40 years ago, I was blessed with an opportunity that so many young people in this country never have like I had. And then I got to thinking, and guess what? Today, I had another opportunity that people never get to experience, and so it's a wonderful experience.
Bob, if you could hand that microphone to Dave Ramey, we'll keep it on this side. Dave, I'm going to ask you the same question. You grew up in Dayton. You guys played at the same high school. You were drafted. You played at that school up north, but we're going to let him pass on that. What was it like for you to become a member of the world champion Cleveland Browns?
It was just like a boyhood dream come true to end up here with these guys. I mean, it's you look around you, Walt Roberts, Leroy Kelly, all these great athletes, the great Jim Brown, Gary Collins, Bernie Parrish. I mean, all these great athletes, and I got a chance to be a part of this team. It was wonderful, believe me. It was a dream come true.
Thank you, Dave. Turn around and hand it to Sidney Williams. Sidney, let's. Bobby Franklin talked about how fired up you guys left the locker room. Now you come in at halftime. It's a scoreless game. What was the halftime like?
I think it was very subtle. I think we realized that we had another half to play, and we knew what we had to do. The offense basically was doing their job, and the defense was doing their job as well. And I must say that the third team, which is our team here, we were doing our job as well. And so we all got together. We thought about it. We went out the second half, and we did exactly what we had to do. We went out there and continued to do our job, and we won it 27-0. And I cannot be so proud of the whole team, the things that we did that day. And we surprised the world. As we said, we were 17 points underdog, and we came out victorious. And that says a whole lot about the team.
One of the biggest upsets in NFL history, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Bettridge now with the microphone, a free agent, Sandusky, Bowling Green. Ed, just like Dave and Lowell and these guys that played from Ohio, Stan and Larry Benz, what was it like?
Growing up in Ohio and with the great football tradition, to be able to play with the Cleveland Browns and this wonderful championship team was I probably think the highlight of my life. And like everyone else says, there's a lot of great players and a lot of great guys on this team.
Thank you, Ed. Hand the microphone to a gentleman here, played 11 seasons in the National Football League, and Clifton the Stick McNeil. And Sticks, you made the team. They bumped a guy named Havlicek the year before. Fortunately, that worked out pretty good. But you also, I remember your touchdown catch against the Giants, putting 52 on the board against New York. Pretty good way to go into the championship, wasn't it?
That's right. I think that what happened, a lot of us realized that we were possibly a team of destiny. Anytime you have a group of people like what we had and the premier football player in the world and in the history of football, as far as I'm concerned, Jim Brown, I think that when we went into the game, we knew that we could win. But I prayed, and I think a lot of us prayed. I think that the spirit that permeated then and that came from us, I think that people saw the result of that in the score. And I think that right now, even as we recognize one another and are being recognized by you, we're just fortunate that God's was smiling upon us, and he put his hand on us. That's why I think we won.
This gentleman was my boss. He was the trainer for the Cleveland Browns for 40 years. And Leo, they knew each other well. You knew them all really well.
Yeah, it's true, Case. And it seems like only yesterday, and it's 40 years. These fellas, it takes courage to excel. These fellas all rose to the occasion. No training room athletes. They played the game. Not in the training room, but out on the field. I had nothing but admiration for them, not for that one game, but for the Browns in general. Thank you.
Thank you, Leo. Tom Hutchison.
Thank you.
Hutch, the #1 pick in 1963. You joined a pretty good team, and as I mentioned earlier, when you played tight end on this football team, you blocked.
I tried to. I tried my best. Mr. Brewer, I guess, is the best blocking tight end they've had in the league for a long, long time. But I tried to do my best, helping the team in any way I could on the special teams. And with this gang, shoot, we had it made. We had a lot going for us. It was a tremendous opportunity to come here to Cleveland and to play for 3 years that I played here. And I appreciate it for everybody. And Cleveland rocks.
Let's save some of that for Sunday, too. Mike Lucci. Mike, you had an all-pro career with the Detroit Lions. You left Cleveland shortly after the World Championship game. 5 Hall of Famers on that called offense, and yet you guys just walked in like you owned that team.
Well, I think you already talked about the defense and what a great job they did. But if you look back and look at this group out here, that when we walked on the field, we believed we were going to do our part. We knew we were going to move that football, or we were going to stop that punt and do whatever we had to do. I remember Charlie Scales would always come out and he said, Wooten said, get it out of the dirt. And we knew that we were going to do our job and do our part, and we were proud to be part of it. And I did spend most of my career in Detroit, but these are guys that are special. It's like coming home. It's like being with your brother. So this is great tonight.
Bob Gaines, 6 Pro Bowls. Bob, it was tough. You broke your leg that year. You had to sit it out. You had to sit out the championship season, but you sure took care of everybody after the game that year.
I had a nice party. I had one hell of a party. But I'll tell you one thing. I was very fortunate to come to Cleveland in 1952 and play with great guys like Marion Motley, Otto Graham, Lavelli, McSpeedy, and Bill Willis. I mean, I look back, and then it just sort of permeated into me that you were with a championship organization. And then we won it in 54, 55, played in 57, and then to come back and win it in 64, even though I didn't play in a game. But it was thrilling. And then to see the players today, I tell you, I look at these guys right now, and when I'm looking at players today, I think we could all stand some steroids.
All righty, thanks, Bob. We got to move along to Charlie Scales. Charlie, you guys brought a special attitude to special teams.
Yeah, but I thought you were going to ask me first about what was it like coming from the Steelers to the Browns.
Did you really want me to ask you about that, Charlie?
Well, we did have a special attitude. We knew that was our game. Our game was the teams, the special teams, you know. I wasn't going to get in the game behind Jimmy Brown. My job was out there on the special teams to make sure our team always had great field position. Our team never started backed up. We got it out of the dirt, out of that lousy infield, and our team was always in great position to score. And we never, ever let them down.
Let's talk to the guy who always brought it back beyond the dirt. Walter the Flea Roberts, one half of the jet set with Leroy Kelly. And you always did bring it back further than the dirt, didn't you, Walter?
Well, I think we had great success. I grew up in Los Angeles, and I used to sneak in the Coliseum and watch the Cleveland Browns beat up on the Rams.
How about your partner back there, the other half of the jet set? You guys combined with Leroy Kelly, I mean, best of the National Football League.
Well, we like to think so. It was great playing with Leroy, because right away you could see that he was going to be a Hall of Famer. I knew that the first day I saw him, so it was a great thrill. It was great to be a part of a team, especially being a rookie. You know, you come in and they had most of the parts already here. And so we came in and added a little bit, so.
You took your $7,200 and bought a vet. Leroy, what did you do with your $7,200 that year?
I did.
Hey, Casey, how you know I made that? How you know I made that much money?
That's what the world champions got that year.
I know, I didn't tell you. Hey, I brought a 1964 Malibu convertible. Paid cash for it.
Thank you all. Hall of Famer Leroy.
It still had some money.
We're going to commercial. We got a trophy coming up. Stay tuned.
I think we're always getting better. We're looking to improve all the time. We're listening to what the customers say they want.
We know what we have to do, and our standards are very high.
The commitment has been incredible as far as bringing in the technology needed to give the best service to our customers.
Our system withstands a lot of heavy weather because we build it good, and that's all so that the customer can rely on that electricity to be there every day.
The six-passenger car known for peace and quiet is breaking its vow of silence.
You've arrived at your destination.
The Lincoln Town Car, now with extended rear park assist, available navigation system, and something else worth talking about. 5-star safety in every category. And now get 6,000 cash back or 0% APR for 5 full years on Town Car. See your local Lincoln Mercury dealer. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Okay, we'd like you to try 2 frozen lattes. One is from a national chain of coffee shops, and the other is new from Dairy Queen.
This one's fantastic.
Looks like you chose the new DQ Latte. Great. Okay, you can give it back now.
Test is over. Let go.
The new DQ Mulate frozen blended coffee, made with creamy DQ soft serve in 3 tempting flavors. Grab one and DQ something different.
Likes it a lot.
I transferred back to Cleveland State because I realized that Cleveland and Cleveland State University have so much to offer.
Big motivation in transferring was the affordability of Cleveland State.
I transferred to Cleveland State. CSU was very good about accepting my credits.
I went to another school in the area, fresh out of high school, and I just wasn't ready.
I was a little nervous about transferring to a university. From the very moment I walked on the campus, it was just really a sense of feeling at home.
Register now. Fall classes begin August 28th, downtown Westlake in Solon.
Welcome back. I'm here with the offensive unit of the 1964 championship Browns. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go into a 2-minute drill. We don't have that much time. I want to start with you, Monty. I want to read what Jim Murray wrote about the man that you blocked for, Jim Brown. Jim Murray, the LA Times, wrote, speaking of Jim Brown, I'd like to borrow his body for just 48 hours. There are 3 guys I'd like to beat up and 4 women I'd like to make love to. Monty, you blocked for that man. What was it like?
Well, I'll tell you, you've heard other examples here tonight how Blanton Collier's system allowed input from the players. You'd heard about it with Bernie on the defense. And the story I like to tell that indicates this, when we used to go down on the offensive line installing plays every week, our great line coach, Fritzie Heisler, used to say to the lineman, this is how the runner wants it done. And
the runner?
Obviously, Jim had input prior to that, and nobody ever asked, who you talking about? Who's the runner?
I want to ask John a question. Give the mic to John. You know, today it's a tradition of great running backs when they break records to lavish the offensive line with gifts. Emmitt Smith gave Rolex watches to the Cowboy linemen. John Riggins gave engraved shotguns to the Hogs. Did Jim Brown ever give any gifts at all to the offensive line?
Well, it's certainly not too late to do that.
Let me pass it up to, I want to ask Frank. Frank, when you look at a lot of the great teams in NFL history, they had a signature play. Lombardi's Packers had the power sweep. Chuck Noll's Steelers had the trap. What was the signature play for the '64 Browns?
Good Lord.
Well, we had a number of signature plays. Of course, with Jimmy in the backfield, a lot of them went that way. But you know, the thing about Jim was that he controlled the defense tremendously. And that gave me a chance with our receivers to put the ball down the field. So it was a little bit of Jim and a little bit of throwing to those guys that was the signature of the Cleveland Browns.
Dick Schafrath, I want to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
You've gone on to great success in your career after the NFL, after playing with the Browns. What did you learn from your experience with these men that enabled you to go on and have such a successful career after football?
Well, I'm very humbled by what you said. I was successful, but my life was about team first. And when I came to the Cleveland Browns, the first huddle I went into was 9 Hall of Famers were in that huddle. And when we were playing together with this group, it was just as good, all line of warriors. There was 9 blockers, as I mentioned this afternoon. But the thing that I noticed is when we all touched hands, there was a lot of electricity. Different religions, different colors, different abilities, but we had one accord, one heart. And I mean, this team wanted to win and loved each other and cared about each other and appreciated the Cleveland Browns fans. Thank you.
Paul Warfield. The man who has the microphone now was an NFL scriptwriter's dream. How many different ways could we say poetry in motion? I might be dating myself with this, but we said it was Gene Kelly in the rain, Fred Astaire in a gathering of slam dancers. Imagine the numbers that this man could put up today with the restrictions that are put on defensive backs. What?
Well, thank you for that tribute. It's very nice of you to say that. The athletes today are great athletes. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster. The one thing that I learned playing with this group of men and my teammates as a whole is that they were great technicians, great discipline, great fundamentalists. The mental aspect of the game. You can find people who are bigger, faster, and stronger, but if you get it right the first time, if you do it right all the time, you're going to win a lot of football games.
Gary Collins. I don't know whether this is true or not, but I heard that 2 nights before the game on television, Gary, you predicted the Browns would win.
Hell,
How about
yeah.
Joan? Is that true?
True.
What? How could you
That was
possibly?
controversial then. John Fitzgerald, he came in our locker room at Old League Park and interviewed me and said, Collins, what are you going to do Sunday? I said, hell, we're going to win. Didn't predict the score, and it came to pass, but it's just a great game for all of us. I had a great day. The key to that game was the wind and our defense. What I did was just a plus.
Pass it down to Ernie Green here. Ernie, we've looked at a lot of footage. When you look at that footage and the footage of this whole season, what's the moment that you remember most, the moment that you're least likely to forget?
There are a number of moments that I remember about that game, but one of the things that comes to the top of my mind, I don't know actually when it happened. It could have happened in the second quarter. But we were lined up in a slot formation. Jim was the only back in the backfield at the time. Odell Bracey went down inside. I was to block him. The ball was snapped, pitched to Jim. Jim came to the outside and ran for 27 yards before he was touched. That was a key play, and I think I got 2 guys.
All right. Give the mic to John. John, if possible, could you describe the mood of the locker room before you took the field, before the team took the field? That's something very few people are privy to. Even today at NFL Films, we're not allowed in the locker room. Could you sense what was going to unfold by the mood in the locker room before that game?
Well, the mood in the locker room was everybody has a set routine. They have their own time they show up at, before the game, and they have certain rituals they go through. And that was everything. There was no variance to that whatsoever. It was just a regular game, and everybody had a great deal of confidence. And the locker room, unlike the championship game in '65 when we went up to Green Bay in chaos, showing up 2 hours late for the game because of the snowstorm. But this was a clockwork. It was a fairy book season. Everything melded, and it was just a continual progression right through the championship. I'm proud and honored to be part of this team.
Pass the microphone to Jim. Johnny, I'm going to have to go right to Jim. We're in our last play, but in our business, there are many things that are debatable. One thing that is not debatable, the greatest runner of all time, Jim Brown. But
thank you, Steve. Hello.
But, and who better to wrap this all up than Jim? Jim, when all these players are together and you look back at this season, can you possibly put into words the achievements of this team and what it's meant to you?
Well, first of all, let me say that what you have seen exhibited here tonight is real. You have some of the most intelligent individuals that's ever played football. We were probably the greatest overachievers that ever lived. We studied every aspect of the game. We dealt with every detail of the game. We were in top-notch conditions, and we played our roles. I'm happy to say that the new ownership of the Browns, the young ownership, Randy, the president, and the coach, I think they're here tonight. They concocted this. They wanted, I think, not only to honor us, but to send a message to the young people that are playing now that we truly care about, that there's a history here, it's a glorious history. You have individuals of integrity and character, and most of all, we, as Dick Schafrath said, we played as a team. And that's my message.
Thank you very much, Jim. Thank you. And we'll be back with the commissioner and the presentation of the trophy. Thank you very much.
Introducing the Browns Extra Points credit card from MBNA. You can get closer to the Browns and the game you love and turn your dreams into reality. To apply, call 1-800-386-5551 or log on to brownsextrapoints.com for the Browns exclusive credit card. Browns Extra Points. Start living your dreams.
I'm here for my massage. These big muscles need some tenderizing.
Okay, cutie, room 5.
Thank you. Ooh. Bud Light.
You're here for the body treatment?
Oh, yeah. My body, your treatment.
Okay. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Fresh, smooth, real Bud Light.
Is there a breeze in here?
It's all here.
The 6-passenger car known for peace and quiet is breaking its vow of silence.
You've arrived at your destination.
The Lincoln Town Car, now with extended rear park assist, available navigation system, and something else worth talking about. 5-star safety in every category. And now get 6,000 cash back or 0% APR for 5 full years on Town Car. See your local Lincoln Mercury dealer. Hurry, offer ends soon.
It was a relationship that wasn't supposed to last, but no one knew it would blossom into a love affair that has become a timeless classic. This summer, relive America's favorite love story, Ford Taurus. And during the One Big Event, Ford authorized clearance, you can get up to $5,000 cash back. Ford Taurus, America's love affair continues. Now playing for a limited time.
Introducing the Browns Extra Points credit card from MBNA. You can get closer to the Browns and the game you love and turn your dreams into reality. To apply, call 1-800-386-5551 or log on to brownsextrapoints.com for the Browns exclusive credit card. Browns Extra Points. Start living your dreams.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Commissioner of the National Football League, Mr. Paul Tagliabue.
It's an honor for me to be a part of this very special tribute to the Cleveland Browns team of 1964, to the history and to the great individuals who were part of that team. The 64 Browns were, as Jim Brown and so many of the other players have emphasized, a team. Not just a champion, but a championship team. They played a hard-nosed style of football. You all know that. We all heard about it tonight. They personified the work ethic of this town, their town, your town. They played a style of football that continues to this day to be appreciated by the Browns fans here in Cleveland. Tough football that emphasizes teamwork, commitment, discipline. The tradition of the Browns is very, very rich, and it's a unique part of NFL history. The 64 Browns were a very modern team, in addition to being a tough team. A team ahead of its time in many ways. Blanton Collier gave the players a say in running the team. That was something new for that era. He also recognized the importance of the diverse makeup of the team, with Jim Brown and other African-American players taking a leadership role on a championship team. That was also new at this point in our league's history and in America's history. This championship season was a modern season, a look into the future. So here's to these great players. I want them to come up and join me. It is with tremendous pleasure and honor that I present to this team, the 1964 Cleveland Browns, a trophy to commemorate an unforgettable and extraordinary championship season. My congratulations for giving us all lifelong memories.
Introducing the Browns Extra Points credit card from MBNA. You can get closer to the Browns and the game you love, and turn your dreams into reality. To apply, call 1-800-386-5551 or log on to brownsextrapoints.com for the Browns exclusive credit card. Browns Extra Points. Start living your dreams.
The 6-passenger car known for peace and quiet is breaking its vow of silence.
You've arrived at your destination.
The Lincoln Town Car, now with extended rear park assist, available navigation system, and something else worth talking about. 5-star safety in every category. And now get 6,000 cash back or 0% APR for 5 full years on Town Car. See your local Lincoln Mercury dealer. Hurry, offer ends soon.
President Bush and our leaders in Congress have a plan.
Lower health care costs.
Allow small businesses to band together to get insurance rates big companies get.
Tax-free health savings accounts families own.
Stop junk lawsuits against doctors and hospitals.
Keep doctors in their communities.
Health centers in every poor county.
Every eligible child with health coverage.
Learn more
at agendaforamerica.com.
I'm George W. Bush, and I approve this message.
Neither do they.
It's amazing how sometimes we get a show on with all the confusion.
Yeah, it is.
We only.
We do get
Yes.
And I'll never forget the first time I ever had to fill in the floor when they were shorthanded. I heard so much profanity, I thought it was Def Comedy Jam. I was like, man.
It's like a Chris Rock show.
Yeah.
I have to be okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool, the shot looks good?
Yeah, we're just waiting for them to tell us what stuff's coming on because
Very different.
back there they're hollering, they don't. Yeah.
Here tonight.
Do a mic check, Scott.
Yeah, for most of the night, beneath the white canopy behind me,
You got it?
a lot of rabid Browns fans.
We got it. Cool.